I'm Adam Sanders, and this is a 4-minute beer review. Recently, a friend sent me an email. The email said, Adam, should a man be ashamed of drinking beers with fruit flavor? This is an urgent question for me since these are now in season and I like them, but I feel I need to send my wife in to buy them for me. I thought that was a good question from my friend. Now, of course, I immediately wrote him back and I said, yes, you should feel ashamed of drinking fruit beers. Of course you should. That's an easy question. But, of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. The trick to enjoying a fruit beer as a man is to do it in the sanctity of the home. My friend had the right idea sending his wife in to buy it, but even if a wife isn't available, you may be able to get through the checkout line without too much dignity lost by remarking to anyone within earshot, man, my wife can't get enough of this stuff. Of course, cashiers are adept at spotting that kind of posturing, but at least it's less obvious with a fruit beer than if you were trying to check out with, say, Mike's Hard Lemonade. You don't do that, do you? Well, that's a long introduction to the beer that I want to review today, and it is a fruit beer. It's Pyramid Brewing's Audacious Apricot Unfiltered Wheat Ale. This beer clocks in at 5.1% alcohol by volume, and it's an unfiltered wheat beer. Now, you can see on the label that there's a lot of pictures of dudes on here. I mean, there's this dude jumping off a building, there's Sprinter dude, there's skateboard dude, surfer dude. Actually, the only girl I see is right here between two dudes who are chatting her up. I kind of think there's such a thing as trying too hard, but it's obvious that the brewer's trying to send a message that this is a beer that, although it's a fruit beer, it's all right for guys to have. We'll see. Let's open it up. Okay, take a look. You can see that it's cloudy. It's kind of translucent, glowing orange, and that cloudiness is because it is an unfiltered beer, so there's billions of tiny yeast particles in here, giving it that cloudiness. Okay, when you smell it, the apricot aroma leaps at you. I mean, it like jumps up your nose. It smells incredibly fruity, like you just tore up in a bag of dried apricots from the grocery store. Now, the apricot flavor notes are right up front in the taste as well. It is sweet and it's a bit tart. Again, it reminds me of dried apricots from the bag. The carbonation is very noticeable and not in a good way. The bubbles are intense in the mouth and they kind of burn like a very highly carbonated soda. A few seconds after the apricot taste dissipates, there is a little bit of nuttiness that I pick up. This kind of tastes like a peanut or like a pecan, and that reminds me that, okay, this is a wheat beer. It's not a flavored malt beverage because that nuttiness is coming from the malted wheat. Now, there are hops detectable in this beer, and they're really earthy hops. They give it a dirt-like flavor. Maybe they should have called this beer Dirty Apricot. I know that sounds weird, but the hop flavor here is kind of earthy and kind of organic. The beer finishes quickly, a little bit too quickly in my opinion. It just leaves behind a faint apricot aftertaste that's a little bit musty and sweaty, kind of like the apricots have been sitting on the shelf too long. Now, the long finish, like a couple minutes after you take a sip, actually reminds me of a wet corn chip, like if you had a Dorito that you licked all the flavoring off of. I rate Audacious Apricot by Pyramid Brewing a 4.9 out of 10. It's way too fruity, and the aftertaste is unpleasant, but at least the fruitiness doesn't taste artificial or chemically like in some fruit beers. This is definitely a beer that'll cost you your man card, dudes on the bottle notwithstanding. But it could be good as a cookout beer in the middle of July when you're 100 degrees and this beer is 35 degrees. Okay, then it might be a go-to beer. Well, thanks for watching. I'll be sure to review some more fruit beers throughout the spring and summer, and next time I'll make sure to do one that I like a lot. Cheers!